Hello and welcome to our myofascial release session. My name is Krystal and I'm going to be guiding us through the practice today. This practice is one I use to either prepare me for movement or as part of a warm-up, or to cool down at the end of the day, or even just sort of on the in-between days if there's areas of tightness in my body. I use these practices to help to alleviate that tension. I'm going to be using a tennis ball and a foam roller. Use whatever is available to you. I do find foam rollers are better for sort of getting the length of the muscle, and the tennis ball is better for working to more specific areas and getting into deeper spots. But you use whatever you have available to you. Also, I'm going to vary the practice slightly in the sense of just kind of prompting or suggesting whether you want to use the practice to warm up and prepare the body into movement and to open the body in that sense, or whether you want to use the practice to sort of rest and recover and move into a calmer body state. So I'll keep prompting you throughout, just sort of encouraging whichever one you want to go for. There is no hard and fast rule, they're all suggestions. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, you can work in similar areas, it doesn't have to be exactly where I am. Just find what is best for you on your body and what you need, and let's get started. Okay, so I'm just going to begin just taking a moment to find ourselves on the floor in whatever position is comfortable for you. Just taking a moment to find a few breaths here, breathing into the belly and out, either through the nose or through the mouth, it's up to you. Feeling the weight of the body meeting the floor, and the support of the floor coming up to meet the weight of the body. Scanning any areas of your body that you're looking forward to working on today. Any areas of tightness. Observing how you feel now, to be able to relate to how you feel later after the practice. Always taking a moment for gratitude, to be thankful that we get the time and space to be able to do this, to be able to pay attention to our bodies and well-being. We're going to begin with the hips. I'm going to take the tennis ball and place it directly under one side of the glutes. You can start in the centre and just easing pressure and weight into that, maybe gently swaying side to side, feeling the muscle passing over the ball, or you can just stay in stillness. You might want to roll around and feel ball rolling under the glutes to find any particular areas of tension that you want to work on. And once you've found that place, one option is you can rest and release there, letting the weight fall into the ball. melting over the ball, feeling that muscle give way. Another option is you can hold the weight and move, pressing the feet into the floor to move the hips around, to almost create sort of like a knead-in, knuckling, circling motion to work into that muscle. You can also sway, move side to side if you're introducing movement into your practice today, to get the joints mobilized at the same time as releasing those muscles. And we're going to stay here for another minute. You might want to stay on the same spot or find another spot. Again, just applying those same instructions to the new point of tension that you want to release. Remembering the breath, using the out breath to expel tension from the body. Again, introducing movement with the opening and closing of the leg, maybe. If you're wanting to bring movement into your practice today. Always aiming to release. And we're going to shift now to the outer hip. So we're looking at, there's a sort of prominent bony part of the hip, and we're looking to start working the flesh underneath that. I'm going to place a tennis ball underneath that section, lie on my side. Now this might already be enough, it can be quite gnarly in there. And you can again rock the hips forwards and backwards, or rotating over the ball. If you want a deeper experience, you can bend the leg to about 90 degrees. Might need to shift your position slightly and just work into the extra soft tissue that is gathered in there. Again, you can move, you can stay still. There's a particularly gnarly area here for me, so I'm going to just hold that. I encourage you to use your voice and your breath to really help to release the tension. Also becoming aware if there's any emotions that rise up. Kind of store emotions in our body if we don't let go of them, and I often find any anger that I'm still holding on to comes up for me in this area. And it's just being mindful of that and allowing that to go. It's all about releasing tension and releasing what's not serving us, to allow the body to work more efficiently. Letting go. Again, if you're on the tennis ball, you can kind of roll the weight of your body forwards and backwards. Or find another area. Experimenting also maybe with moving the leg. Seeing if there's any new spots that require work to come up there. I'm going to be here for about 10 more seconds. Great. So we're just going to move on to the hamstring insertion point now. So where the hamstring meets the glute, and just working in that sort of area. So one way of doing that is you can place that at the point and stay where you are on the floor. and adjust your position, whether you want to sort of keep your weight, the weight of your hips back and working here, or whether you want to shift on top of it and work a bit deeper in there so you've got more weight pressing down. Another way you can do this is to use a chair. So you can sit on the chair, place the ball underneath the hamstring insertion point and find different ways of pressing into that there. I'm going to do mine on the floor. I'm also going to change my ball because that one's just popped. So I'm going to work on the floor. I'm remembering as well that the hamstring is divided into 3 muscles. You've got sort of like the central point and the outer and the inner, the medial, the lateral and the medial. So I invite you to find different spots along that point. So maybe beginning in the middle to find it, and then shift into an inner or outer. Again, if you're bringing in movement, I invite you to close and open joints as you go. Or if you're going for rest and recovery, you might want stillness, but just shifting to different spots of that hamstring insertion point. We will work the length of the hamstring later. Another 10 seconds here. And then we're going to shift whilst we're sitting to the hip flexor, the front of the hips. Now I actually find it easier to just get my fingers and thumbs in there. So again, we're finding the prominent, the bony part of the hip, and then I kind of work from just underneath that and press in, kind of being mindful of what sort of pressure your body will respond best to. Sometimes it's good to go deep, sometimes it might shock the muscle to go deep. So just constantly listening and responding to what your body needs at any given time. And then once I've found that, I kind of try and smooth it out a bit. So I'm pressing in and then I'm just shifting, as though trying to iron the top of that crease, the hip crease. If you do have anything that sort of resembles like a bar, that's also very useful to get in, lay the bar into the joint and sort of move, like pushing it forwards and backwards over the joint. I don't have that available to me, so I'm going to use my hands. That's great, and then we're going to move on to the inner thigh. Now this is the part where I find it useful to combine foam roller and tennis ball, but again, you use whatever you have available to you. So I'm going to start, I like to start from the bottom. So we're going to work this muscle in here, where it inserts at the knee. I'm just going to place it there. So it's like the above and inside of the knee. And I'm just kneading gently in here. And then start working up the muscle. The idea that we're ironing the length of this muscle out can again get quite gnarly in here. So do feel free to use voice and breath to release that tension. And then as we work higher up, going towards the midline of the body, I find it easier to just bring in the foam roller to finish off up here. So at the upper part of the inner thigh, and you can work as far as you like here, even right up into the pubic bone, go as far as you need. Again, just paying careful attention to what sort of pressure, what sort of movement. Are you wanting movement or are you wanting stillness? You can hold and release, or hold, press down. You can do small rocks side to side. You can work, if you prefer to work the length of the muscle, you can do bigger movement, introducing pressure points with the hands and the toes into the floor, preparing for movement. Everything is available, anything is possible. You use whatever is right for you. And just getting right into where the thigh meets the pubic bone here, right into that hip crease. Releasing as much tension as possible around the hip joint. Again, you can flex and extend at the knee. Great, so we're going to repeat all of that on the other side. Another way, if you don't have a tennis ball available and you have a foam roller, another way of getting into the glutes is to sort of sit on top of it. Option one, sort of leaning onto one side of the glute that you're working on, rolling backwards and forwards. You can also lengthen the muscle a bit more by crossing into a figure 4 position, and you'll find with the extra stretch there, there's even more tension getting released. And again, you can stay still or move. I think I'm more inclined to movement today. You do what's right for you. Also, feel free at any point to pause the video if you want to spend longer working in any particular area. Bringing in the stretch and movement. Or staying still, being in that stillness. Great, moving on to the outer hip. So again, it's the side, find the prominent part, and it's the flesh underneath. You can go in with your tennis ball, you can go in with your foam roller, sort of laying perpendicular to it. Experimenting with the positioning of the leg. Shifting the weights more forwards or backwards according to where you want to work. Great, so we're going to move on to the hamstring insertion. So it's finding where the hamstring meets the glutes, and it's usually a lot of people find it's maybe a 1 to 2 finger space just below that point actually. So just have a feel around. Again, if you're using a foam roller, you can sit on top of that. You can experiment with opening and closing the length of that point already by flexing at the hip, depending how deep you want to work today. And remembering the inner and outer parts, so shifting the weight to each of those sides so we're not missing out any part of that hamstring insertion. Again, you can shift your weight forwards and backwards, using gentle pressure into the floor with the hands and feet to help. And you can even vary the pace of that, so you can go slowly, we can be a bit more vigorous, really work in there. You can slow it right down, you can stop and pause. Just play around, please do. Great, so we'll ease off from there and move over. I'm going to try now on the foam roller to get the hip flexor by lying on top of it. So I'm going to find the bony part of the joint and the flesh underneath, just applying pressure from there, gently rocking forwards and backwards to iron that out, also shifting the inner and outer, shifting the weight of the body to roll and press over the foam roller to get the inner and outer parts of that hip flexor. Again, being aware if any emotions do come up for you and releasing those if they're not serving you. I'm sensing that I've been holding frustration here. Enjoying the release. And then we're going to move over onto the inner thigh. Again, you can tennis ball or foam roller or any other type of ball or equipment available to you that serves a similar function. Working the inner thigh, starting at the knee and working our way up, sort of ironing and pressing out the muscle. Stopping at any particularly tighter spots if you wish. Working your way up to the centre and upper part of the inner thigh, right into the hip crease. enjoying observing if you find any other parts of your body releasing, as well as the hips. I feel the back of my neck is starting to free up that little bit more now. Scanning where your body's at as a whole. And we can just take a moment to lie or sit and just quickly observe the difference now. What's been released? How that feels different. And what other areas we can work on. So we've concentrated on the hip joint. We're just going to quickly work the length of those muscles now. So we'll just start with the hamstrings. I'm going to use a foam roller on this side. So I'm just rolling and working the length. Only going to spend about a minute here. And again, remembering we have the centre point and the outer and inner part of those muscles. Use your hands to rock backwards and forwards. Again, you can do it on a chair, sitting on a chair with your tennis ball. You can shift with positioning your weight differently according to how much of a stretch you want. Good, and now I'm going to move on to the other hamstring whilst we're here. Centre, medial and lateral. Centre, inner and outer part of the hamstring. Remembering our use of breath to support the practice. Stopping if you wish, or slowing down that movement to any particularly tight areas. I'm just going to continue working the length of the leg now into the calf. I'm going to change to the tennis ball. And again, remembering we have the centre line of the muscle, but also an outer part and an inner part. So within that minute or so, I'm just going to try and quickly hit all of those areas. I'm not going too deep here, but again, feel free if you want or need to pause the video and spend longer working deeper into those muscles there. Also trying to catch the bottom part of the calf where it starts becoming the Achilles and joining into the foot and the ankle here. It can be a bit difficult. The ball tends to want to escape, so hands and fingers are also an option, just to give them a bit of attention. And then shifting over onto the other calf, which we haven't done. We can also get the back of the knee gently where the calf inserts at the knee joint at the back there. And then working the length. And down into the ankle. Great, I feel that starting to open up the feet and just enjoying that and taking a moment to feel new length and availability at the back of the legs. Again, in stillness or movement. 4. Moving on to the quads. I'll just quickly spend a minute here again. Central, outer, inner parts of those muscles. We'll try and hit them all. Do spend longer here if you need to. Oh. And the use of voice to help relieve the tension. Working into the IT bands there. Maybe spending more time closer to the knee, at the low part of the joint, just wherever your tension is. I invite you to pay attention to that and work with it. So we're going to go on to the other quad. Again, if you're getting your muscles fired up for the day, it's a good opportunity to also be pressing into the hands and the feet and engaging the core for support. And just seeing where you're at here. Kind of passing through varied plank positions, elbows. Oh. Great. So we're just going to finish with the feet. You can use your tennis ball to work, tennis ball or foam roller to work, first of all in the arches of the foot. Again, you can knead and press in, or you can just stay still and allow your weight to release into and over the ball. Thinking about the muscles melting around. And then shifting into the heel. And then the ball of the foot and the toes. Again, you can press and knead, you can use brisk, lighter strokes, you can just hold. We're going to change to the other side, just as a different option. Your foam roller, same again, you can aim for the centre of the foot. I feel there's more availability here to also pronate and supinate the foot. That means to tilt it towards its inner and outer borders, inner and outer edges, to hit different parts of that arch of the foot. And then moving to the heel, same again, experimenting with pressure. And weight placement in the feet. Then into the toes and the ball of the foot. You might want to just leave the foot in a more natural position. You might want to sort of come onto a rise in the foot. Flexing the joint, toe joints. Pressing in there. Okay, so we're going to move on now to do the back. We're going to divide the back along its spine into two halves and sort of work lower, mid and upper back. Now there is a choice whether you want to work on the floor with your ball or foam roller. We're going to work from the spine outwards, or you can stand up again and do that against a wall. I'm going to do the first half on the floor and then go up against the wall to show you those two different versions. So I'm thinking about my lower spine. You can choose any side. I'm going to go for my left side. Now I'm finding the muscles next to the spine, they're called the erector spinae. So I'm going to find the spine, not put any weight on it. I'm going to find the flesh and the soft tissue right next to the spine, and then begin carefully lowering my weight here, and already finding points of tension and immediate release actually in my shoulders. And again, carefully paying attention to whether you want to hold a spot, whether you want to shift very gently your weight side to side as though gently rocking, or sort of lifting the pelvis off the floor to knead the ball in, sort of kneading into that spot. And again, there's a few vertebrae down here. You can work a little bit higher, a little bit lower in the lower part of the spine. So I'm working next to the spine, feeling a nice release in the left hip there, letting that happen. And then if you want, you can stay where you are, or you can roll outwards along the width of that muscle. So working towards my sides, just kind of ironing out along the side of that muscle in the lower part of the back. Lovely. You spend more time here if you want to. I'm going to move on to the mid-back section now. Same again, locating the vertebra and then finding the soft tissue next to it. I'm lifting my pelvis off the floor to then let it start slowly sinking again. Finding that weight releasing into and over the ball. Rocking side to side to start working the width of that muscle, or you can shift slightly to find a different spot there. Kind of feeling the back of the ribs in this area. Finding it's releasing my hips quite a lot, this. So finding what it's doing for you and enjoying that. Working into the outer part, those muscles, should you wish, and then moving to the upper spine. Same again, locating the spine and going for the soft tissue to the left of it. To experiment where you place your arms here. I want a bit more of a stretch, so I'm going to cross my arm over the body. Becoming aware if any emotions are coming up for you. If you've been holding anything here and allowing that to be released.
Gentle movement or finding different spots. We will work into the shoulders separately, so you can concentrate just along the spine for now if you wish. Locating different spots to work on or staying where you are. And then easing that off, I'm going to change the camera to do the same exercise on the other side but standing against the wall.
Okay, so I'm going to work the other side of the spine by leaning into the wall with the tennis ball behind me. So I'm going for the lower spine, exactly the same principle. So it's finding the vertebra, finding the soft tissue next to the vertebra and applying pressure there. Then I'm leaning back into the wall to find that pressure. Also using a little bit of pressure through the feet to press myself back into the wall. And here, this is a really good point if you are introducing movement into your day, to start introducing gently the softening, the pliés, the bending and extending of the knees and the weight in your feet. Also moving, shifting side to side, and as you're ironing along the side of that, the width of the muscle, feeling your weight shift through the feet, turning, rotating. You can take it as far as you like, or as always you can just stay still. Press into one spot. Feeling the activation of the quads and the hamstrings. Spine opening up. Then we're going to move to the upper part of the spine, so same again, the mid part of the spine, so finding the vertebra, flesh next to it, pressing into the wall, and using that how you wish, whether that's to find a static relaxation, a static firing and activation of the leg muscles, or a moving activation and mobilization of the lower body as we massage the tension out of the back. You can also rotate towards the wall. Good, and then same again for the upper spine. It's a good place to sort of roll up and down the length of the spine, using sort of slow, long, controlled strokes or small, vigorous. Again, feeling what's right for you. We don't want to shock the body, we want to just open and release. Observing any other parts of the body that are opening up as a result of this. I'm finding my chest and my collarbone is starting to release a little. You spend longer here if you need to. I'm going to shift on now to the shoulders, so I'm locating the shoulder blade. This part at the back where the shoulder blade can protrude. And I'm going to try and get right in next to it, that fleshy part next to the blade. And I can play around with that by moving my elbow backwards or stretching the arm across the body. Oh, a lot of tension in there. Again, playing with movement, moving the head, moving the arm, if that's where you're going today. Or feel free to just hold it today. And of course you can do all of this on the floor as we did. You can lay on top, which I'll come back to and do with you on the other side. Oh. And you can do all of this with a foam roller as well. I just find it, I can be more specific with a tennis ball. So I'm going to move now, keeping that pressure. It's difficult to keep it in place, so do feel free to help yourself with the other hand. So I'm just massaging the back of the upper arm along its length, just briefly here along the tricep. And then I'm going to switch to work into the shoulder, and then I'm going to work along the length of the arm here. So again, ball in between me and the wall, just leaning my weight as I feel necessary, maybe rocking side to side or circular motions, or just staying there. Kind of working underneath the collarbone into the chest a little bit. Becoming aware of what else is opening up. You can try the head in different positions, the head towards the side you're working on, or the head away. And then I'm just going to shift now into the bicep. Swaying to and fro to work the length of the muscle briefly here. Then I'm going to go into the forearm. Probably easier to do it up and down, but again, find your own way through this. And then into the hand, just pressing the palm of the hand into the ball in the same way that we did with the feet. So the centre of the palm, which would represent the arches of the foot. You can stay here. You can, again, if you want to be more active, use this to sort of activate the front part of the body, maybe stepping further away and just getting those muscles firing up as they hold your weight, or you can go for more released, pressing in and feeling the support of the wall. And then finding the heel of the hand near the base of the thumb. And then into the fingers. And I'm going to do the same on the other side, but this time lying down, so I'll just change the camera. Okay, so doing the other side, this time on the floor with the tennis ball. I'm going to work again into the side of the shoulder blade and all around it, wherever you want to go. This time I'm using the floor to release my weight in here, and you might want to stay there, or you might want to gently press into the feet to rock the weight of your body side to side over the ball. You can introduce movement with the arm, opening and closing, across the centre line of the body, or upwards. Have a play according to what you need. You can sort of
circling at the shoulder joint itself here, circling over the ball, massaging in to areas of tension. Beautiful. Stay there longer if you need to, otherwise I'm going to work along the tricep. You can stay lying down here, get a bit of core activation by lifting the shoulder blades off the floor. You can rotate onto your side, it's free for all. Do whatever you want to do. However you want to position yourself in the most comfortable way, shifting onto the chest. So I'm going to go onto the collarbone to the side of the shoulder. I think I might just relax over here, but you can sway side to side or any other type of movement if you want more of a kneading. Stand longer here if you need to. I'm going to shift onto the tricep. Just massaging along its length, the bicep, sorry. Massaging along the bicep, the front part of the upper arm. And then down into the forearm. Rotating the bones as I find where I need the attention. Great, and then I'm going to move into the hands. I'm going to come to kneeling to do this so I can press in that a little bit more into the centre part of the palm. The heel, the hand. And into the fingers and the upper part to finish off. And depending where you're going with this practice today, I invite you to bring it to a close, however is right for you, whether you want to start exploring how your body has opened up and released into movement, or whether you want to come back to the position we started in, to lying and just observing where your body's at now in the stillness. Whatever is right for you. Thank you for joining me in this practice, and I wish you the very best for the rest of your day.